Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, happy everything. Uh, so this happened. This is my cat. Yes, this is not the BMW that I got earlier this year. This is a different one. This is my new to me 1987 BMW 325 ES, an E30, and it's kind of a dream car for me. I know I've probably said that a couple times about a few cars that I've owned, but I've wanted an E30 for well over a decade now. And I know this one isn't too pretty on the outside. The hood is kind of wrecked, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure the rest of the paint actually, it's kind of hard to tell, but will actually clean up pretty decent. And maybe down the line, who knows, maybe I'll wrap this or something. It's a very straight car, as you can see. There's really only a few dings here and there, and they're super light. There's no rust, which is really good. And, it's always what they say, is what's on the inside that counts, right? Well, not that inside. This is most of the reason why I got this car, actually. This is an M52 B28 swap, and it needs a little bit of love here and there. I've already actually cleaned up a lot of stuff, a lot of zip tying, a lot of wiping down, stuff like that. There's a few loose ends with the swap that I have to sort out. Things like some of the gauges don't work and stuff like that. But the thing runs and drives reliably now that I've rewired a few things, that sort of thing. But it starts up every time, and so far so good. Interior is all there pretty much. There's a few things here and there, of course, just 80s car stuff. This thing is like 37 years old, so it's going to have some loose ends here and there. It's got a dash cap, actually, which I know is a popular thing these days, especially with like S chassis and a few other cars. And I'm cool with that. I could flock this or something if I want to get crazy, whatever, but I'm going to just leave it for now. It looks good. And it has, so this is originally a 325 ES, right? And some people might not know what the E or the S actually means. Basically, the 325 is the regular 3 Series 2.5, the I meant injection. The E meant it kind of like economy. It's technically a Greek letter E. It's called the Eta. And they would have come with a 2.7 liter economy version of the engine that the 325i had, and it was made for more torque, less power, and better gas mileage for the US market exclusively. The S is actually like the sport package, so the little front lip here and the little rear spoiler, which I love. I think it's really helps the body lines of the car. Yes, I do have the early US bumpers, the old diving boards. They stick out quite a bit, but hey, it's like built-in bash bars, right? It's got an aluminum radiator, so this is a 2.8 liter, basically a later E36 engine, or they were also in the E34s and a couple other chassis, and 2.8 liters, 190 horsepower stock, and it does actually have an M50 intake, so supposedly that's good for a few more horses. It needs a couple things, like I noticed there's no O2 sensors hooked up, and I don't have an OBD2 port, even though this should be an OBD2 engine. I need to wire that in to kind of get some information from the ECU and see what's happy, what's not. But otherwise, things are it's a pretty simple engine. It's a real easy swap. These basically, it's like you get mounts figured out, that sort of thing, and you repin a couple things, and I think it kind of is just mostly plug and play from there. Like I said, there's a few things I want to clean up, of course, but This thing already has a power and somewhat reliability upgrade, you know, this being a 20-year newer engine than what this had originally. Far less like vacuum lines. It's a dual cam engine, better flowing head, just more power kind of everywhere. This does have single vanos, so variable valve timing on the intake cam, and generally, as long as you know how to treat it and maintenance things here and there, they're pretty reliable. So this car, plans and such, I'm hoping to, and I've already zipped through a little bit of canyons, just like one drive through a decently short canyon drive, and it was very fun already, but it needs things like a little bit of alignment figured out. The wheels and tires are not not what I prefer. It's definitely got some poke going on, and not the style that I'm looking for. Yeah, another thing that I've noticed is the hood likes to run into the fuse box here, so got to sort that out. But 80s cars, man. There we go. Otherwise, the car feels actually very tight. It turns in very well, but it's got spacer adapters on it right now, and these wheels are not my style per se. Like, it's just a typical like BBS mesh rep, but the offset is way too much. The tires are not, they're cheap tires. So, and this one's leaking and is actually cracking now. So I am going to have to get that sorted. But right now, this is my current daily driver, and it will basically be a bit of a dual duty car. Basically something that I can daily drive. I have a short commute, so I basically was like, I have a lot of flexibility with what I can get away with the daily, since I literally only spend less than like 10 minutes at a time going to and from work. I don't really have much of a commute, so I don't need to worry about like AC and heat and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I'm gonna figure that out like down the line. I do want to do like some restoration items and such here and there. Like I mentioned, the body should clean up, that sort of thing. Of course, some aesthetics. Probably gonna have to replace the hood, and we'll figure that out. But basically something that I can have fun, bring it to Cars and Coffee, do some canyons with, nothing fancy, and maybe get on the track too. This thing does have an LSD in it, which is pretty cool. My E46, which I actually ended up selling to my stepbrother, he was interested in getting into that. That car was a great car. It caused me no issues or anything. Like, literally, it was boringly good. Like, not that I am like a masochist that needs to work on, lemons or something like that, but the amount of work I would have to go in with stock suspension, open diff, like all this stuff, and it was a 2.5 liter. I did make the compromise of going for a car that was cleaner and more well-maintained and, all that, and just like more turnkey as like a daily driver, as opposed to something that was more ready to go for performance driving, that sort of thing. This is, I don't want to say the opposite, because like I said, it already kind of has a reliability kind of swap in it. It is a stock engine. It's not like it's got cams, or I don't think it's got any sort of tune or anything. But this is something that already I can feel between like the lower curb weight, shorter wheelbase, and the coilovers and such like that, and the LSD. It's already more capable, and it has a torquier engine with a bit more power. But right off the bat, like, it's just a more fun car. The other car was good, but I wanted something, I guess, more interesting, that sort of thing. And I loved my Volvo, and I really wish that I was in a position to be able to keep it, maybe as like a third car or something like that. I just didn't have the means to like make that work, and I do now. I've got more experience, I've got more resources, that sort of thing. It's not like I'm rolling in cash or anything like that. It's not like I spent a bunch of money on this. Obviously, this is a little bit of a fixer, but it's got a lot of potential, and it's already got a lot going for it now. So, stay tuned for the rest of the journey with my new E30, and I'll see you next time.